What's up, everyone? This is OEV of Be Truly Faithful, formerly of the Do This for Life podcast. And I know last week's episode, I was sharing with you all how I was in a revamp. And I told you to remember, it's the revamp. And that the name of the show was changing and everything. Everything about it was changing except the content. The content will heavily remain the same. Unfortunately, there was a few kinks in the chain that won't be knocked out until like a few days, but I still wanted to get an episode out to you all, so we're going to call this the transitional episode, okay? And so instead of what you normally hear when my podcast comes on, and even when it goes off, instead I'm just going to come straight to you, no chaser, some facts with no printer, without all the bells and whistles. And please forgive me for that, and I thank you all for sticking with me all year long, and also with this transitional phase I'm going through to get you all out new content with a new show, with a dope intro and outro, and just everything about it. I promise you, if you continue to stick with me, you will not be disappointed in the upgrade, in the revamp. All right, so today's episode, I'm going to just get right into it. It is, once again, like I always do, based off of a Tuesday Talk post or my lives that I do in my group of 14,000 plus women, Kingdom Building Group, ladies. And again, if you want to be a part of that group, go to oev.life, scroll down to where it says to join my Kingdom Building Group for women with over 14,000 ladies. And let me just tell y'all something. Having a group with 14,000 ladies, me and my best friend run this group. It's our group. We came up with this together. She actually came up with the idea for it and opened it up, and I was one of the original admins of the group. It was like a few months, I want to say about 5 or 6 months later, she asked me to come on and run it together with her as co-host, and we've been doing that. The group's been around since 2015. I've been there since the birth of it, and then we started co-hosting, I believe, around February 2016. So this group has been around. We will hit 3 years in September, and it was an influx of ladies that came on after one of her videos went viral. So, I want to share something with y'all on that. Why am I sharing all that? 14,000 ladies is a lot of ladies. I know you see groups with far less and you see groups with far more. But 14,000 ladies is a lot when you are as involved as I am in the group. It's a lot. I don't see everything. I don't comment on everything because I can't. I would be there all day and night, right? But I'm definitely in there when I can be, engaging with ladies and whatnot. So every Tuesday, I do a Tuesday Talk with OEV. Now, normally I write the post up and post it up for ladies to comment on. And I engage with them, at least for the first 30 minutes to an hour on that post. And then I leave, and then I may come back later on that night and talk to them a little more. Well, I've started going live, doing Tuesday Talk Live. And I'm not saying it will just continue to be lives each Tuesday, but I go live in that group every Tuesday. And I've started doing that lately, Tuesday Talk Live. So either it's going to be Tuesday Talk with OEV on some days and then Tuesday Talk Live. So those are the days I'm live. And I engage those ladies on there. We talk about a lot of things. We have fun. We can be serious. We can be jokey or whatever. We can do all those things. We can do things in jest. And there's love and respect for the ladies, and they have that for me as well. And we can also disagree, too. Just like on posts that I have or other posts that I engage with them on. Why am I sharing this with y'all? Okay, when I do something like this, like a podcast or I'm going live, my heart is always to share something with you on a practical level that can help you in your life. So I'm going to use a lot of stories. I'm going to use my wisdom, my expertise on things, my experience. I'm going to share a lot from movies. I am huge, super huge on sharing movies because whereas you might not be able to relate to something that happened in my life, but you're trying to understand, you're trying to be empathetic, right? But a movie seems to always unite people. We love stories, right? We love to see it visually. So that's why I'll say a movie. So like when you're reading a book, you create a visual, but when you're watching a movie, you see the visual, right? And so I oftentimes will use songs and even, especially movies, to prove my point or to share an example of. And so yesterday's Tuesday Talk, last night's Tuesday Talk Live with OEV was about, I wanted ladies to come and get things off their chest. I'm probably going to do that again, and probably do it like once a month. Like, hey, come get it off your chest. You got any issues with other queens in the group? Hey, queens outside the group, what's going on? What are your feelings? What are your thoughts on things? And is it unbecoming of a queen to clap back? So we got a chance to talk about that, and I loved the interaction that we had. There was so many comments on the live. It was dope. I say all that to say, at the end of that, I left that live feeling like, okay, I think the ladies got it. I think the queens got it. Hopefully this will help queens in interacting with one another, because my whole basis of doing this podcast is to talk and expose the issues we talk about, and expose the issues we have in relationships, and to talk about and expose the issues we have in sex, and offer practical solutions to both. Okay? They are normally going to be general practical solutions, but I invite you always to interact with me one-on-one to help you through those more specific things in your life. So basically everything in this podcast, even the revamp, is content that is going to help you in your day-to-day operations of life, of your life. But if you need more specifics, that's where meeting with me one-on-one comes in at. And that's also on oev.life. You can get a 20-minute consult. I talked to a lady yesterday, which was so funny. And she was like, when I asked her, so after we got the preliminaries out of the way and everything, I said, so what brings you here today, needing consult from me? And she said, what, to be honest, I just want to talk to you. And I thought that was so cute and so funny. And she was so honest. But she got a chance to share a lot, and I got a chance to share a lot with her in that time frame, y'all. Y'all don't, what kind of conversation you can get in 20 minutes? Of course, we probably went a little over, but do you know the amazing conversation when you're focused on that call with what you're there for, and then I'm focused in helping you? So that's what it's like. I'm specifically talking to you about what you are going through and what you're dealing with. So don't miss out on those oev.life, those 20-minute consults. I don't know how long I'm gonna keep those up, because as things grow, some things have to be faded out. You know what I mean? So get you some, even if you buy like a block of them, and choose your time. These are like quick pick-me-ups during the day. Even if you get like a block of them that you don't use right now, you just use them as you need them, but you have them, and I will always honor them. Okay? So I say all of that to say, yesterday we talked about the mercy of queens, like the clapping back, what we're dealing with. We never know. And so I just want to do a short episode today to encourage ladies on why we should be operating more in mercy than in clapbacking. Okay, so on that live yesterday, I talked about ways we can avoid some conflict. Some conflict is just going to happen. Some things are just inevitable, okay? But some ways we can avoid clapping back with queens and intolerance with queens. It's to scroll on. And I even made up a little song with that. You need to get in the group to hear that. So I even made up a little song with that about how you can just continue to scroll. And I talked about how one of my mentees does that. She will rarely just get on posts and just tell people, no, I think this is wrong. You're out of, she rarely does that. She's like, listen, I cannot be bothered. I'm going to go on and live my life. It doesn't mean that she doesn't get on and say some things from time to time that need to be said or give her opinion. It just means overall, when queens have their opinion on things, that's all it is to her. That's an opinion. I don't have to agree or even go over there and disagree. I can scroll on. So these are some things we can do when we're on social media. I'm going to tell you some things you can do in person too. I want to give you a few tips of things you can do in social media to show mercy to a fellow queen. One thing you can do to show mercy to a fellow queen to avoid conflict is to scroll past what you see. Scroll past it. Like, you do not have to comment. I know y'all hear this a lot, but I want to give you something more in depth, just a little bit more in depth with that. When I say scroll on, if it really, really bothers you, just that much, I will never tell you to scroll on for that. But I will say, if it bothers you so much that you cannot scroll on, read the post. Okay, read it. Look at all the comments on that post. Like and love the ones you like and love. And then if you feel like you must comment, the first thing you should always do is ask questions. Ask for clarity. Sis, did you mean that all men are dogs? Or are you saying all the men you know are dogs? If she's put up a post, a fellow queen has put up a post saying that all men are dogs, no matter what y'all say. Or all men cheat, no matter what you say. Ask for clarity first. This is one of the best ways to avoid conflict, because now you're getting an understanding. And then now you know if you can continue to scroll on, like, okay, I see what she's saying. I'm not going there with her today. I'm moving on. Or, I want to engage her more, so I'm going to ask more questions. That's how you can get them to talk to you and not be so hostile with them. Okay? That's number one. So number one is to keep scrolling. 1B is if you just feel like you cannot continue to scroll, that you must say something because you don't like what it says, it's triggering you, it's bothering you, whatever. Instead of just going on, giving your comment and your opinion, ask for clarity. Ask the poster for clarity. Sis, when you posted this, were you wanting us to engage you? Were you wanting us to give an opinion? Or were you making a statement to talk about, like, what? I just want you to, kind of like share with me why you posted this here. Like, did you want some feedback on it? Or are you going through some things? Or are you ranting? So that's 1. 2, show empathy. Show empathy. You don't have to agree with the poster. Show empathy. Sometimes we give complimentary likes. I don't do it too often, but complimentary likes is just like, I may not agree with this post. I may not agree with what's been said on this post, but here's a like. Just to say, I see you, sis. And people say, oh, a like is too lazy to comment. Not always. Sometimes, or many times, we're trying to work in our best to avoid conflict. Unnecessary conflict at that. There is necessary conflict and there is unnecessary conflict. But unnecessary conflict, we shouldn't have the time or day for. Necessary conflict is like, this been going on for a while. We need to go, nip this in the butt. So when you get to that post and you see, you don't, it's not something you agree with, but you see the sis may be dealing with something, show empathy. Just put up a complimentary like. Or just something, one thing I do? I see you, sis. I feel you, sis. Like, I may not agree with anything that she's saying, or I hear you. That's another one. Like, I hear you, sis. I'm like, but it's going to be unnecessary for me to engage her. It's going to be unnecessary for me to ask questions in this, because she has made it clear that this is a rant, or she's made it clear that this is the way she feels because of things that she's dealt with. I'm not there to fix you. I'm not there to disagree with you at this point. I'm not there to debate you at this point. I'm here to show empathy, to say, sis, I see you. I feel you. I hear you, sis. Because in real life, and when I say in real life, in person, do we comment to everything a person says? Sis, y'all got to learn how to pick y'all battles. I teach this to my wives with their husbands. But I'm telling y'all, in relationships in general, we gotta learn how to pick our battles. So sometimes I would do a complimentary like or love. And the like oftentimes is that I may not agree with every single thing you're saying, but I agree with your context and the contents of your heart right now and what you're dealing with. So here's a like. So show empathy. You don't know what another sister is going through. You don't know what she's been through. I know of a lady who lost a child. And she put up a post and she was angry and some things. And she said a lot of things about the medical field and things like that I didn't necessarily agree with. But because she was still grieving, because she was still dealing with some things, and because there was some truths in there or some things she said in there that I did agree with, I gave a like and put a heart. Like, I feel you, sis. It doesn't mean I agree with her. It just means I stand with you, sis. We may not see eye to eye, and we may not agree with every single thing. We may not see eye to eye on this issue, and we may not agree with every single thing. But overall, I stand with you. Y'all feel me? Show empathy. Okay. Now, the 1B on this, of showing empathy, is you can then comment and say, if you feel like you got a comment, and say, sis, I may not agree with everything you said here today, but I will say you are a strong woman and I love you. Something like that. Y'all see what I'm saying? I may not agree. That will get the respect of that woman and be like, you know what, sis didn't agree with me or what I said, but she got me. At least she got me in my feelings and in my heart and what I'm dealing with. Y'all feel me? This is how you build relationships too. We don't always have to find a post, clap back on. We don't always have to be ready to go in to show how you can adjust somebody's crown in public in front of everybody. We don't always have to do that. And number 3, The third thing you can do to avoid conflict online and to show mercy instead is not just, like we talked about, number one, scroll. But if you have to, scroll on, don't comment. But if you have to comment, what do? You hit them up and ask for questions. 2, we talked about when you see these type of posts and you don't really agree, but you're empathizing with them, is the means to show empathy, then you simply give them a complimentary like and put a heart up or something, whatever it is for you. Or you just put a complimentary like and go on. But if you must say something, the 1B is you say, sis, I feel you, I hear you, or I may not agree with everything you're saying, but sis, I love you and I'm with you. You see what I mean? And number 3, reach out privately. Everything doesn't have to be public just because it is on social media. Now, I have my rules about social media that I believe that if you miss it publicly, you should make it right publicly if you can. Because I do realize some people deactivate, some people, you never see them again, they block you or whatever. Try your best to do that. I do believe and stand by, if you miss it publicly with someone, whether it's on a post or your post or their post in one group, that you make it public. Like you publicly go back to that same post or whatever and you apologize. You don't have to make a separate post for that and whatever, or you can. I've done both. I've done them all. Hit them up privately. And you can say, sis, I inboxed you. Now, with me, you're probably not going to get me as much because people do that all the time and it's hard to get through all of my inbox. Okay, so I don't want to say that y'all hit people up and then you hit me up and I don't answer. You're like, oh, you said to inbox. No, I've told you the best way to reach me because of all that I do, all that I have going on. Your best way to reach me is those 20-minute consults or a full consult. Or you're just going to have to engage me on the post or I'll come on my lives. That's the best way to reach OEV, seriously. But for other ladies who may not do what I do or whatever, or be as busy on social media as I am, then what you can do is hit them up and then let them know in the post, sis, I inboxed you. You know what I mean? Reach out to them, sis, and just go say, sis, I see your posts and everything. I kind of feel like, and I feel like, you might be going through some things and whatnot. Is everything okay? And then once the atmosphere is opened up, engage them and ask questions. Is everything okay? I do feel like you're coming off a bit strong here. I do feel like you're, in your comment, I felt like it was a bit much. And towards me, I felt like you were targeting me. You may not be, but I'm coming to seek clarity. Because I've done that on post and I've done it in inbox. I have actually said to someone on a post, okay, sis, were you talking to me? Is that for me? Was your comment for me? And they'll say, oh, no, it wasn't for you. Or yes, it was. So then now I know how to proceed. Okay, so that was for me. So let's go ahead and let's engage on this thing. And if it wasn't for me, oh, okay, cool. Just checking to make sure. Because I wanted to make sure that I address you appropriately based upon what you said or what you're, targeting me with. But other than that, 3, reach out to them privately if possible. If you can, say, sis, you can say on the post, sis, I inbox you, or sis, can I inbox you? And so they can be looking out for it. They may never answer or they may never check, but that's still you reaching out and it's still there. Okay? It's still there. So those are your 3 practical ways of avoiding conflict online. How about in person? When you're talking and engaging with people in person and they're saying things you don't agree with, number 1, ask questions. Okay, sir, or man, what did you mean when you said this? Ask for clarity right then and there. Okay, wait, why are you saying all black people this? Or what do you mean interracial marriages or that? What do you mean by this? Ask in a loving, kind way, but you can be stern and firm. I am. Okay, so tell me what you mean when you say that you believe this particular group of people are lazy. Like, how did you determine that? Or is this based off some past experience? See how I'm engaging? I'm asking for clarity. What do you mean by that? All right. 2, a way to avoid conflicts when you're in person. This is with family, friends, or whoever. You can ask them to clarify. 2, know who you are talking to. Why is that so important? Because this will determine how you engage with them or if you are going to engage with them. Listen, when I know who I'm talking to, I am not going to ask for clarity or I am going to ask for clarity. When I know who I'm talking to, I am not going to engage them further, or I am going to engage them further. Because some people I'm talking to, I know they walk in the spirit of offense and defense. Both. You want to call it a spirit of offense or whatever. They get offended easily, and I just don't have time to be wiping up tears and feelings all the time and going back and forth and arguing in fruitless engagement. I don't have time for that. Remember, we need to avoid unnecessary conflict. But unnecessary conflict needs to be had. So 2, know who you're talking to. This will determine if you even reach out. So really, this needs to be 1. Number 1 should be know who you are talking to determine what your next move is going to be. Because if these are people who always want to argue all the time, that put you down and berate you and all that, you can have a small conversation with them. Remember who you talking to and move on, because you need your sanity, honey. So number 2, we're going to switch it. Number 2 is then when to seek, ask them what they mean by that. Because listen, I know some people, I ain't gonna say who and what, none of that, but I know some people that all they do is talk against a particular race. So when I run into them, they always talking, and there are times when I'm like, you know what, you're gonna have to explain to me why you're saying this. See, I know who I'm talking to, but then other times, like, there you go. All right, well, I'm over here doing such and such, so I'm gonna do this. You see, I know who I was talking to, so I knew what my next move was going to be. All right. So 2 would be seek clarity. Seek clarity. Ask questions. What did you mean by this? What did you mean by that? All right. Okay. And the last one, and I can give y'all so many with this, but I'm just giving you 3 today. I like to do things in 3s because it helps you. It helps to get your mind focused on those 3 things instead of being 10 things or 15 things or 21 things. And there's a time and a place for all of that. Okay. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying it's a time and a place for it. And on a podcast like this, with this episode, I don't think it's the time or the place to give you so many. Because I just gave you 3 about online. Now we're going to do offline. So number 3, how you interact with people, how to avoid conflict when you're offline, when you're in person with people, or even on the phone. Number 3 is to remember you are talking to another human being with feelings. Remember that. You don't know where they just came from when you talk to them on the phone. You don't know what just happened in their lives. Because a lot of times we lack empathy, y'all. Let's just be real. We lack empathy. Like, I don't give a damn if that happened to her. I don't give a care if that happened. I don't care what she went through. She better not this. We lack empathy. Yet, if it happened to us, what happened to them, we would want empathy. And there's a time to be hard up like that. I'm not against being hard because it does produce results. But I'm big on being hard in love. I'm big on being hard in love. Like, I see the potential in you. I know you got this. So I'm going to have to just straight up tell you, sis, that's not going to get it right. Your attitude is whack right here. That's not going to work over here. But there are times to number 3, remember you're talking to another human being with blood, sweat, tears, feelings, heart beating. That's another human being you're talking to, sis. Bruh. For those bros that's listening, that's another human being. Remember that. They got children. They got a mom or dad. Some of them have mommy issues. Some of them got daddy issues. Some of them got sibling rivalry issues. Some of them been hurt by the church. Some of them are repressed or enslaved in their mindset and mentality. Some of them are not where you are, but where you used to be. Remember, they are human. They make mistakes. They say things that are wrong out their mouths. They say things, I know, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And yes, what they just said was from their heart. But sometimes they're going through some things that will amplify what they're dealing with. So they may be speaking on it in a harsh or crass way than normal. Remember, they're human, and you don't know what they just came out of or what they're going through, about to go through, or what they're going through. You don't know. You don't know. So remember that they're human. And then when you're remembering that, remind yourself that they are human. This is my fellow human being here. I may not like the stuff that he does or she says. I may not like what they stand for. I don't like who they voted for. I may not like all of that, but that's still a human being over there. And that's how I'm able to get along with so many different people of different races, because I remember this. Oh, I'm going to always rep mine now. Always. But this is how I'm able to do that and not operate out of prejudices and anything like that. Now, with all that being said, all those practical things I just gave y'all resorts to this one thing, the mercy of a true queen. Operate in mercy. All of those tips and steps and practical things I just gave you is you operating in mercy, honey. The mercy of a true queen results in actions of love. The mercy of a true queen results in actions of mercy, of love. I'm sorry, y'all get what I mean. In love, actions in love. And there's your mercy. That's how you can be merciful towards other queens instead of always being ready to clap back. As I was telling the ladies on the live, I know how to clap back. Many of us came out the womb clapping back. I did a episode on why the real reason we clap back when angry. But if your mission is to clap back every time somebody says something out the way to you, something's wrong, sis. Listen, I do know there are times and places for everything. There's a time to get people all the way together. Okay? There's a time to let people know when they're trying to accuse you of things, when they're really trying to come for you, for real come for you. I'm talking about true come for you, not when they're just making a comment online and they're not really talking to you. They're just, in their feelings towards the question asked because they've been through some things, and so they're sharing, and so they may be using things. They may be using their hands. If you see them in person or online, they may be using, exclamation points or whatever. It may seem like, oh, you coming for me. But that may not be a true come for you. But if they're truly coming for you and you say, you know what? Nothing you do makes sense. Your point in life is nothing. I wish you were dead. Things like that, when they truly come for you, sis, I understand. I got you 100. If they truly coming for you, I got you 100. If you clap back. But if they really not, if they just being who they are, and some people are socially awkward and they mess up a lot. Have you ever seen the show on Netflix called Dear White People? There's a young guy on it. I think he's in dealing with his sexuality on the show, but he says he's very socially awkward. Now, he's the socially awkward that's more towards the passive way, but there are some people who are socially awkward in the aggressive way. And I know it works our nerves. Everybody's not extroverted like me. It can sit there and talk and entertain people like me. Some people are very introverted. Some people are extroverted and still socially awkward. But you have to understand, remember, they're human beings. They're behind a computer screen, feeling like they can say what they say. You got to know who you're talking to. If you're on one of these posts from Fox News and it's racist, you got to know who you're talking to. I don't got time. We'll be here all day. Ain't got time. All right? So I hope this has helped y'all in some way. Y'all, please stay tuned. Please stay tuned. Next week is it, y'all. The party is going to be on. I'm going to be doing some giveaways from the first so many shows when I'm launching. So y'all, please, thank you so much for staying tuned. I hope this has helped someone today. The mercy of a queen. Baby, we're queens. And one trait of a queen that is so amazing is her mercy. When you look at the show Reign, actually, it's inaccurate, okay, about Mary Queen of Scots. But I love the power that they're showing in the show, that she has had mercy on people. And that's why many people start respecting her, is the mercy she has on people who believe differently than her. Y'all, that's a whole nother podcast right there. Let me get out of here before I start preaching. I love y'all. Thank y'all for sticking with me with this transitional podcast. Don't forget to go to oev.life and sign up for your 20-minute consult today. And don't forget to go and get in the group. Go to oev.life, baby. You know there's a reason why I chose oev.life and not a .com. There's a reason it's life, baby, because that's what these podcasts are all about. Talking about our ships, talking about our sex, all in life. I love y'all. See y'all next week with the revamp, baby. Much love. And don't forget, share this podcast. Share. Even without the intro. It's raw and it's authentic. All right. Much love, y'all. I'm out.